Welcome to Rebels in Review. I'm Thor Skywalker,
And I'm Sailor Naboo.
and today we're going to be discussing the episode Trials of the Darksaber. Let me first apologize because we are both a bit under the weather today, but we wanted to do this because we haven't done one of these in a while, and we certainly enjoy doing them. We hope you enjoy watching them. Anyway, before we get into it, let me warn you that there are obviously spoilers ahead, so if you've yet to see this episode, please watch it before continuing. And with that being said, let's get into it. What did you think?
Overall, I definitely liked this episode. It wasn't a filler, throwaway episode like some of the ones we've had in the past, Maylurans. But it was telling a great story, and there were a lot of little tidbits that just give you such a deeper understanding of the whole Star Wars universe that I thought it was just great.
I think this is one of the best episodes because it gave you so much lore. I mean, we know about the Mandalorian Jedi War, but you know we learn about where the Darksaber came from. That there was a Jedi Mandalorian at one point, Tar Vizsla. I love that this was a really small episode in the fact we don't actually ever leave the Chopper base or the planet. I can't think of the name right now, but it was one of the most powerful episodes. No doubt one of the deepest episodes on so many levels.
Yeah, to give you such an insight into Sabine's story about why she's with the Ghost Crew, why she left her people. It was just so enlightening to see why she's there in the first place, what made her join the rebellion.
Yeah, I've liked Sabine, but this episode this took it a step further. I actually really, I'm into this character now. She's cool, but now she actually has a real story, a real purpose, and it was great. And one thing I really liked about this episode is she didn't pick up the stick or the saber and just immediately, I took down Ezra, I took down Kanan. They definitely showed you that she does need to learn a lot.
Definitely. They showed us that she needs to learn that, Mandalorians just aren't magically great at anything that has to do with warplay. I mean, it was great. The music in this episode was fantastic. When she started using the saber, it kind of had a very Asian feel to me, which kind of goes along with she does have an Asian look. Her sword, her lightsaber, looks more like a katana to me. And they were playing a very Asian style music, which was really beautifully done.
Yeah, again, the music was just a terrific episode all around.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I liked the inclusion of we're getting to see a little more of Fen Rao. I mean,
yeah.
It's nice to see some characters that were kind of sitting on the back burner.
It just shows you, like you said, how you were talking about filler episodes, and the season one certainly had filler, but every week that, just when you think an episode or a character isn't going to be important, they bring them back. They're telling such a great story with Rebels, which is what I love. There really isn't, I think, even having said that, I think one of the biggest complaints about Rebels is it is a 23-minute show, and so many times they try to squeeze so much into an episode. And this, for once, this was a 23-minute episode that I'm like, okay, this felt like a full episode. It didn't need to be 40-some minutes long or whatever a full hour episode would be. So I like that.
Yeah. I liked the cameo of the Bendu, and she's out in the middle of nowhere kicking at him. And then what happens later? She goes back to the base, and his, for lack of a better term, owls show up at the base that we know he communes with. I can't
remember what those are.
So I'm wondering if he's taken an interest in Sabine's training.
I think he has. And, I don't know, I really enjoyed this episode. I hope we get more like this, not more, going forward with this season. I hope we get more of these Mandalorians. I hope we get more of Maul. I hate the episodes where just kind of like they decide to take a week off, if you will. And I know, like I said, the filler episodes usually do come into play. But let's just keep going with this story. Let's go on with the story of the Mandalorians. Let's go on with the story of Maul looking for Obi-Wan. Let's go on with Ezra's training, which was another cool thing was seeing, I know she's not a Jedi, but it was cool to see, the forms and how you do go about training someone to use a lightsaber. That I thought was, really cool to finally see.
It was really cool. It almost sets you up to wondering, is she eventually going to be fighting Inquisitors? I mean, you're teaching her lightsaber forms. Mandalorians we haven't even seen Mandalorians throughout the Clone Wars and such. They generally don't even fight with blades.
Yeah, it is curious.
So
obviously they want her to know how to use the Darksaber, just
because she should know how to use it. Because if someone's challenging her for it, they're challenging her to a blade battle.
Yeah.
But they aren't going to be using lightsaber forms as they're Mandalorians and probably have their own particular way of fighting.
Yeah.
So by teaching her lightsaber forms makes me curious if they're going to put her in lightsaber duels, possibly with Inquisitors or with Maul even.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, because Maul used to be, for those who don't know, he was a former owner of that saber. He kind of, he took over Mandalore in the Clone Wars, which was one of the better story arcs of Clone Wars, and there were a lot of good ones in Clone Wars. Don't get me wrong. So, I think we're about good. Ain't got anything else to add?
I'm just looking forward to the direction they're going to take this story.
Yeah, me too. And I really think, not to get into this topic right now, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if the next, animated series they do, Sabine is going to be our main character. I wouldn't be surprised if we go past like Return of the Jedi, and we do something with bounty hunters and Mandalorians, and Sabine will be a big part of that. I think, she has got a big future, especially with this episode, because like I said, I have a whole new respect and enjoyment of this character now.
Well, in Clone Wars, they got you interested in Mandalorians. They've kept your interest in Mandalore through Rebels, but it's not played a big part in the original trilogy, so it'd be interesting to see if they can keep pushing forward with their history and heritage.
Yeah, because we know people love Mandalorians, even though we don't. I mean, yeah, there's a lot in the EU, but in canon, there really isn't much about Mandalorians other than Clone Wars. Okay, well, that's all for now. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about this episode, what you thought about what we thought about this episode. Also, please subscribe to our channel or check out some of our other videos. And for now, thanks for watching.